What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Podcast Doctor Studios in beautiful Orlando, Florida. I think this is our new home away from home.
Absolutely. I am so excited. I couldn't sleep last night, actually.
Yeah.
We have a producer and engineer. We are big time.
We are big time. And we have Phil Bird at the controls. He is the Podcast Doctor. And we are so excited to be with him today. You have a little bit of a message for everybody at home to like and subscribe, yeah?
I do. So if you are listening to us on your earbuds and you enjoy podcasts, then please don't forget to follow us because you will get notifications every week about the upcoming episode. But if you're watching us on YouTube, well, hey, you have to hit that subscribe button. I know it's like you have to be dedicated to us. It's hard. People don't like to hit the subscribe button right away. But my guess is you've heard a couple episodes, hit it. Then you can follow us. You'll get notifications. Every week will be an adventure.
We require commitment. That's what she's saying.
I do.
And we're also a fun date.
But I am saying that we do require commitment.
We do, for sure. I will tell you, if you are watching us on YouTube, you already know that we are about to commence the Montreal episode because I'm wearing my Montreal Expos t-shirt I got there. If you're listening, buckle up. We got a lot of stuff to tell you about our favorite new city in Canada.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to blow up your comfort zone at the tender age of 50? Well, we did just that. When our last kid went off to college, we hit the road in search of a new hometown. Now we bounce from city to city and bring you along for the ride. This is the Skiptown All-Stars podcast.
Welcome back, All-Stars, to another edition of Skiptown. We are super, super psyched to tell you about our adventure north of the border today. We went to Montreal a few weeks back, and we have a lot of information for you. You're going to love this city. What do you think? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great. This city was fabulous. I knew we were off to a good start when I posted my very first photo of us in Old Montreal, and everyone thought we were in Europe.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And on Facebook, I posted a photo on Facebook, just a random, like we were there, we just landed, and everyone was like, "Oh, where are you? Where are you? Are you in Europe? Are you in?" Somebody thought we were in Germany, another person thought we were in France, and I was like, "Nope, we are in Montreal." And who would have thought just north of the border? I mean, honestly, I think it's like
it was just a few hours from Albany,
yeah,
right?
And you feel like you are somewhere else, 100%. You feel like you're in a different country.
Well, yeah, for
because you are.
Yeah, kind of. You are in a different country.
You are in a different country.
Yeah, I get it. I see what you did there. But one of the biggest reasons is the exact city we're talking about is Montreal, which is in the French-speaking part of Canada.
Yeah.
And all the signs are in French.
Oh, yeah.
All of the restaurant names are in French. It's not a language. Everybody who has watched the show knows that I dabble in the Spanglish. I have no baseline for French, the French language at all.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I have to be honest with you, how it is the predominant language. And I think
You're surprised?
I was, because we've been to Europe and people speak English, but I think it's that American thing that you just think everyone speaks English wherever you go. And so you get there and they're like, no, we do not speak English.
Yeah. I mean, they did actually. So
not much, babe, not much.
You know what though? All the restaurant staff, everywhere we went, there were, in terms of service and all that, transportation, there were enough English-speaking people around. I know that there is a contingent of people let's rewind. Montreal is in the Quebec province, right? And that is obviously heavily French-Canadian influenced. But I felt like everywhere we went, there were plenty of English speakers.
That is true, but it's the predominant language. French is a predominant language, and I did not anticipate that. I literally thought Canada, English. They were like, no. I did find it a little challenging at times. I didn't find it as difficult in Montreal as I did in Quebec City, which we also visited.
Yeah.
But it was really funny when you would be walking down the street and you'd see an Asian family speaking French. It just completely threw me for a loop more than once.
It just tells you how myopic our worldview can be
Oh.
coming from the United States.
I think I'm open-minded. And here I am going, why are they not speaking English?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah. But I will say, I had a couple of people tell me ahead of time, like, oh, try and speak French, or they're really rude there, or whatever. I did not find people in Montreal, or we'll talk about Quebec City next week, but I did not find people particularly rude there. I just thought it was, if you're from a city of any sort, it just felt like every other hustling, bustling city where kind of people don't really have a lot of time for you or patience for you.
Oh,
and it
absolutely.
was no different than LA, New York, Boston, Chicago, wherever, in that regard. And I felt, once we entered shops or whatever, first off, my big mistake, and you guys, and I say, so we should mention at this point that Patrick was with us and we were actually piggybacking on his vacation.
Oh, yeah. So if any of you have listened to our episode with our friend Patrick, who lives in Jersey City and works as a I say producer, but I know he's going to correct me because that's what Patrick does. He's a copy editor.
He is.
And we joined him on his Canada trip. So this was one of those adventures where we didn't have much planned. I mean, honestly, Patrick even picked our locale.
He
and
did.
I was forever grateful because it was kind of nice just to show up and Patrick say, this is where we're staying. Because I'm
great.
usually the one that says, this is where we're staying.
Yeah.
Where he picked for us to stay was really a fantastic location.
Yeah.
He picked an apartment. It was like managed by a company that's sort of similar to Airbnb. It's called Sonder, and it's their version of Airbnb in Canada or in Montreal.
So that's actually a company? I just thought that was the name of the place we were staying.
No, I believe it's a company.
Oh.
And
okay.
I could be wrong, and Patrick will correct me.
No, I mean,
but
you're probably
because
right. I saw it on the Wi-Fi when we went to sign in and everything. I just thought it was their name for.
Maybe it is their apartment. I actually thought it was a service, but I could be wrong. Again, I didn't pick it.
I'm not questioning. I'm just saying. I'm asking for my own information.
Yeah,
that's
I think Patrick did say it was like their version of Airbnb.
And he knows better than we do. That's for sure.
And I thought, Airbnb, but there were three of us, and it was just easier to do an apartment style situation.
Right.
And he picked this location, which it's a street called St. Denis, and I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but it is.
No, I don't think you are. I think that's one French term. Maybe
Denis?
It has a little flair. Saint Denis, but I don't know. So,
that was good.
I think it's St. Denis.
Do that again. That was really good.
I don't know.
And the street actually ended where Old Montreal began. And if you're going to Montreal, the one thing I should say is that the really popular area for tourists is Old Montreal. But, we had to ask Cousin Judy before we left.
We did.
So I did. I sent a quick email to Cousin Judy asking her where should we go. And she quickly responded with a hit list. And we did not get to go to all of those places. Montreal's big.
It's huge.
You said it. It's a city. And
it's huge.
It behaves like a city. People are quick. It's expensive like a city. It's fashionable like a good city should be.
Yeah.
Everyone was dressed so well. That is the one thing that I did not anticipate.
Except for me.
Yeah, you were just okay.
I was just okay.
Yeah, you did not have everyone was wearing stylish shirts.
Mm-hmm.
You just had your t-shirt.
I did.
Yeah.
I was full on American tourist.
You didn't have New Balance tennis shoes, but I can't even say that anymore
No,
because
I
now
didn't
New
have-
Balance are trendy.
I know New Balance are trendy.
Yeah,
But I was going to say, I was such an American tourist, and going back to my and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The first place we busted into, remember, I walked in all,
American.
brash, and I said, "Bonvenue." Remember that?
I do.
And Patrick quickly, he's like, "It's bienvenue." And so I was trying to be friendly. I was doing my best.
Bonvenue.
I know.
Yeah,
Because I know I do. Okay. The one thing I will say is every shop or restaurant you walk into, you kind of have to say hello. It is considered rude if you do not say hello.
So cousin Judy schooled me real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, when I sent her that email, she actually picked up the phone and called and said, okay, I sent you an email back, but heads up.
Yeah.
When you are there and you walk into a store, you say hello to everyone. It's a very American thing to walk in and not even make eye contact. Do
Right.
not do that there. You're already American. They see you coming a mile away. They're rolling their eyes. Say hello.
They will bust your ass.
They will.
Yeah. But okay, so you mentioned city. Just let me spit out a few facts real quick before we proceed.
Bring it.
Montreal, the largest city in the Quebec province, it is the second largest city in Canada, Toronto being the first, right? Population of 4 million people, right? Ninth largest in North America.
Oh, that makes sense. It felt
Between
big.
Mexico, the United States, and Canada, right? That would be North America, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it's the second.
We follow.
We do follow. Yeah. It's the second largest French-speaking city in the world, next to Paris.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I because it's so large, I actually thought, and we're going to get to it, that Quebec City was more challenging with regard to language because almost everyone there spoke French.
Yeah.
But with regard to population, that makes sense because Montreal is obviously bigger than Quebec City.
Yeah.
And yes.
And I think if you live there for any length of time, even if you're coming from somewhere else around the world, which obviously many people did, you acclimate and you start speaking French because you kind of sort of have to.
Yeah. Did you know Montreal was an island?
I actually did not know that until we were there.
I did not know that until we left.
Oh, really?
I mean, I saw the St. Lawrence River, but that was the only body of water I saw while there. I did not realize
Yeah, you
it's
didn't
an
realize
island.
it surrounds
Yes.
the St. Lawrence River is basically surrounding Montreal.
Well, then I had to look it up because I was like, why didn't our tour guide tell us we're on an island? Like, just it didn't even nobody said, even Patrick, you didn't even tell us Montreal was an island.
Patrick.
But I had to look it up, and here's what I found. That it's the St. Lawrence River is one side.
Mhm.
The Prairies River is the other side.
Oh, so it is a different river.
Yes. And then the St. Lawrence River feeds into the Lake of Two Mountains.
Okay.
That was my research I did.
That's very good.
After the fact.
Man,
yeah,
you busted out some geography this time. I like it.
I did.
So let's talk about geography. Montreal is named for Mont Royal. Makes sense,
Yes.
right? Never thought about that as an American going up there. But there are rules. Mont Royal, of which I think it's Montreal.
Oh, look at
See
you.
that?
Oh my gosh.
I did it.
You
See
weren't
how I
doing
did all
that, but
together?
you weren't doing it while you were there.
Oh, no. I was too afraid. I was scared.
You're going to get the side eye.
I was. But one of the rules that I noticed there, I think multiple people told me, was that no building in Montreal can be built higher than the top of that mountain.
Okay, you're
It's
right.
a rule.
It is a rule. And I questioned our tour guide because we did take a tour.
Mhm.
That is something we'll discuss in a second. But I said to her, that building is definitely higher. Like, we're on the tour, and I said, that building is definitely higher than Mont Royal. And she said, no, it's not. And I said, look at it. She goes, it's an optical illusion.
Yeah.
And she was right. Because once we stepped outside and I
You
looked.
measured it.
I eyeballed it. My eyeballing it was not so good in the building. But
Of
once I
course.
walked out and about 4 blocks down, I was like, what do you know? That tour guide who's lived here her whole life was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The building was not higher than Mont Royal.
The building was not.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that
It's
whole
the
area.
highest mountain in the Montreal area.
Yes.
Mhm.
I believe I said that.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Just making sure you got that.
But if it wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to talk about our tour real quick, or you got other stuff in front?
Oh, no. Let's talk about our tour because that was, well, here's what I will say about the tour. You can talk about it. When Patrick mentioned the underground city of Montreal,
Yeah.
I thought it was catacombs.
I thought it was catacombs too, like we discovered in Savannah, Georgia. They have all those pirate caves down there.
Yeah.
And sort of like below earth alleys and stuff where they would drag, people would get drunk in bars and then they would drag them out and basically, what's the name of the Shanghai them, I believe is the word.
I think that is the
I
word.
think it's Shanghai
Oh
them.
my gosh, I think you're right. Would
Yeah.
that was that like rob them and what
No,
was
they
it?
would basically steal. It's like kidnapping. They would kidnap them and force them to work on a ship.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
what they would do. Yes.
So I was expecting that at the underground city in Montreal. I thought we might get shanghaied. Yeah.
Oh, you thought we were going to get
I
Shanghai.
thought we were going to get sent down the St. Lawrence River and out to sea. Yeah.
No, I just thought it was going to be a lot of rats and like old subways. That
Old
were gonna
barrels of ale.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Black mossy cobblestones.
And then Patrick kept saying, no, you have to go. You have to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's pushing me on this tour. I literally was like, why is he pushing me on this tour?
Yeah.
Thank goodness he did.
Yeah. Because what happened when we showed up? What did you see? What was it?
Well, I think we met her at the Four Seasons Hotel.
We did.
So there was no way we were going down to Catacombs if we're starting the tour at the Four Seasons.
Exactly.
It only gets better from there.
It did, for sure.
So we started at the Four Seasons, took an escalator down, and then what happened?
And then what happened was, I have to break out notes for this, sorry, because it's a lot. The underground city is 20 miles of tunnels that weave through the city.
Yeah, but it's not just tunnels, you guys. It's an actual underground, fully functioning city with flower shops,
malls, like stores, restaurants, bars, train stations that link multiple train lines to each other.
Yeah.
It's
you could effectively live in the underground city, never see the light of day.
Yeah. There are campus buildings from local colleges down there.
Yeah. You can take the train from
banks.
From your house, because you can take an elevator right from your apartment, condo, down to the underground subway. Well, I'm sorry, underground city, not subway, because it's not. It's a city, but there is a subway, many different stations in the underground city where you can catch your train and go right to work, go to a friend's house. You honestly never have to go above ground if you don't want to.
No. And I found a fun fact that we did not discover on our tour, and that is the underground city is more populated in the summer from people getting away from the heat than in the winter from people trying to get away from the cold.
So I actually thought the opposite, because remember I asked her, so was this built for the winter? She said she didn't really specify that was the reason that they had built it. She said initially the cold weather brought people inside. So, they wanted to give them an option. But to hear that summer is predominantly the most popular time makes sense, because when we were there, we did not want to.
It was hot when we were there.
We didn't want to leave the underground city. Remember?
It was nice and cool down there.
Yeah, it was really nice and cool.
It was. So, all right. So let's talk about our little adventure, food and restaurants and all that.
Okay. So our tour was pretty lengthy. I mean, what was it, like 2.5 hours?
Yeah, it was long. I remember I was rushing back for work that day.
Yeah. And I'd have to say, I got a lot of steps in on that trip in general, not just in the underground, but being 20 miles and you walk the entire underground, you can do the same above ground. It is such an easy city to get around. Yeah. I don't know. We did take the subway one time because we wanted to go to a different part of Montreal, and that was very, very easy. Their public transportation system is incredible. You have buses, you have the metro. Yeah. Obviously, it's easy to get around on foot. Cabs are easy to hail. I found it to be very, very easy.
Oh yeah, it's easy to get around for sure. We ended up walking so many places. I mean, we were staying so close to Old Montreal that we ended up eating there. Like,
I know.
Okay.
I felt like we didn't venture out enough. We went to.
We were sort of heading into the Times Square of Montreal.
We were.
Like,
it's true.
3 out of the 4 or 5 of the nights we were there.
Yeah, I think just the ease of it. We did go to Wellington Street one day, which is supposedly hailed as the coolest street in Montreal.
Oh, that's right.
We took a metro there, and we were so excited. I had my phone out. I could not wait to record the coolest street in Montreal.
And in typical Skiptown fashion, what happened?
It was a Monday. Everything was closed.
Everything was closed. Yeah. It was like a holiday too, or something.
Labor Day,
wasn't it? Yeah, it was their Labor Day.
It was Labor Day. Yeah, and everything.
Oh, it was our
closed.
Labor Day.
And theirs. They celebrated as well.
I know. I did not know that. When we were crossing the border, we did a post. And I said we were escaping all those Labor Day sales in the United States, making a joke. And one of my Canadian friends actually said, yeah, you're still going to have Labor Day. And I thought he was just kidding.
Oh, no, we did.
No, yeah. We still had Labor Day. There was nothing open that day we went to Wellington.
No, there was one vegan restaurant that was open, and we were happy to find it. And everything else was closed. And if you check out our Instagram, I have a great video of us approaching Wellington Street, like in the moment, so excited, and it was dead.
It was a ghost town.
Yeah.
It was a ghost town.
It was a perfect moment to
Yeah.
capture.
Well, let's go back to, I want to talk about, speaking of restaurants, I want
Yeah.
to talk about a couple of our experiences when we went to Old Montreal. The first night that we had a great experience, and I'm using that term very loosely,
I know.
is when we went to your Greek restaurant.
I know. I really wanted to do Greek. I don't know why. I had like a hankering for Mediterranean.
Yeah.
So I asked you and Patrick. I found, I think, the Greek restaurant myself. It was so adorable. It was on a cobblestone street corner. I think it was a corner restaurant, if I remember correctly. Open windows, like open air restaurant. Really adorable. Blue and white. Looked like you were like in Santorini. And then we walk in, we sit down. Adorable on the inside, exactly how the outside looked. And let's go from there.
Let's go from there. So we ordered, we got drinks. Everything was great.
Mm-hmm.
Place was jumping. We were like, this place is really busy.
Yeah.
The food must be excellent.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe it was, but we didn't get ours until like an hour and 15 minutes later, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when yours came out, it was
ice cold.
ice cold.
Ice cold.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was so hungry that I wasn't going to send it back. So not only was I hungry, but the truth is it didn't taste very good. And so I just, I thought, I don't even want this. So I didn't eat it. So I literally didn't eat. I think I had their Mediterranean. I had a Greek salad that was on the side. That was all I ate. And
You had the appetizers.
oh, maybe I did have the
Yeah,
appetizers.
that was it. That was all you ate.
So I
that
didn't
night.
send it back. Everything was cold.
It would have taken another half an hour to get your food anyway.
Yeah, I think I had a kebab, and the kebabs were charred,
Oh yeah, that's right.
black
Yeah.
as the sole of your shoes.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, wow, this is how they're going to bring this to me. Okay. I don't know
And
why.
it was cold.
Yeah.
It was cold and charred.
I never send anything back.
You don't.
It's
No.
weird. I don't know why.
I've only done it once myself.
Twice now.
We're not sender backers. What did I send back? I sent the one thing back that we had in Orlando.
Yeah, this is
The
the second time.
$19.
Yeah, this is
the $19 street tacos.
Yeah.
Like didn't even fill a souffle plate.
Wait, I think you sent something back in Montreal.
Did I? Oh, I did. Oh. That brings up our second opportunity to have a decent meal in Old Montreal. We went to
Okay.
a steak place.
Right. Okay. So the Greek place was a bust for me. And I don't know, did you even enjoy your meal?
No, because I knew you weren't enjoying yours, and it's kind of,
Aw,
it's
does
a
that
little-
work like that?
Yeah, I mean, even Patrick's not married to you, and he was bummed that we waited that long for your food and it sucked. So
Okay. So then the second night I said, let's make this right. I said, let's go to a steak place. Like, how can you get steak wrong? Like, and so I researched it.
as speaking as someone who's been on a grill a few times, there are a lot of ways to get a steak wrong.
Well, I realized that at the restaurant.
Yeah.
So I think I found this one too, or maybe Patrick. I can't remember who found this one, but it was a
Yeah, we were
beautiful,
all up for it. Yeah.
It was a beautiful steak place.
It was.
So what happened?
Well,
What happened?
we order. The cocktails were great.
They were delicious.
Whatever we ordered for an appetizer, irrelevant. It was also good. We're waiting for our steaks.
Forever.
Yeah.
And
It
it was
took a while.
It was like a Tuesday and the
Yeah.
place was dead. There was only 3 tables. We were one of the 3, okay?
That part of being in Montreal definitely reminded me of Paris, how your food takes forever to arrive. And they're just kind of casually like, it'll be out when it's out. I
Yeah.
don't know. Whenever Joe in the back is done cooking, that's when you'll eat.
Jose.
Oh,
Jose?
I don't know.
Jose?
No, Jose is Spanish.
What's French?
Joseph.
Oh, look at you.
I think that's Israeli.
Huh.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway, Joe.
Raphael.
Raphael. That's better. Rafe.
Okay.
Whenever he's done, that's when you get your food. And that's when we got our food that night.
Yeah, when he got done smoking his cigarette in the back,
Yep.
talking to his girl on the phone,
Exactly.
he cooked our steaks.
Yeah.
So
And they came out and they were cooked perfectly.
I took a bite
But you took your first bite.
and I said,
It's
cold.
ice cold. Yeah.
it's cold. How can it be cold again? How?
Yeah.
So then I said, how is yours?
And I said, my steak is a block of ice. It's so cold. And it was, if you looked at it in a photo, it was cooked. It was like Condé Nast. Is that how you say
Yeah.
that magazine?
Uh-huh.
It was that good. It looked like it should have been on the cover of a magazine.
Oh, the vegetables that were paired with it were beautiful. It was like the mini carrots. It had a little broccolettes, I think. It was,
Broccolettes is a word? Okay.
Is it broccolini or block? I don't know. It's like the little broccolis, and then it had something else. But those were
Broccolitos.
I don't think so. I think that's it. Those were ice cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything was cold. The potatoes were cold.
Yeah. The potatoes were frozen.
Yeah.
Okay. You and I look at each other, and then we turn to Patrick, who is eating his food.
He's so hungry. He hadn't eaten. He's had to wait a cumulative 4 hours for his food both nights, all in.
So I look at him and I say, because he's sitting across from me, and I say to him, "Is it cold?" And he goes, "It's okay." He goes, "It's room temperature." And so I
said, "We're paying $1 trillion. We should have hot steak."
Right. So then what happened?
So then the maitre d' comes over. Is it the maitre d'? Whoever, the manager, the restaurant manager comes over. Yeah, he comes over. We tell our waitress, "Hey, these are really cold." The manager comes over. He says, "What's the problem?" And then I don't know how, like maybe it was the bourbon. I'm not sure. But I launch into this thing where I go, "Hi," and I'm trying to be diplomatic about it and not be the angry American whose steak is cold. But it came out and I said, "Is it customary, because we've had this experience in as many as 2 nights, twice in as many as 2 nights, where the food has come out cold. Is that customary here in Montreal?" And you two both looked at me like, "Where are you going with this? Just tell them the food is cold. We're starving."
You like went into a storybook. Like you seriously went into a storybook where you were like, here's how I heard it. Patrick and I are thinking, just send the food back. And you go, "Is it customary? Because, we've had this twice now where the food is cold in Montreal. Is that how you serve your food?" And he was like, "No." He was like, "No." So
they whisk away. Everybody comes. It's like, it's in a movie where it's like, no, this will never do. And they, everybody comes and they steal our plates. And Patrick's kind of disappointed.
Yeah. Patrick is mid. I'm literally, if you're watching me on YouTube.
Yeah, he's chewing a piece of steak as I'm talking to the manager.
Yeah, and the manager says, "Is his cold too?" And I said, "Yes, his is cold." And Patrick was like, "What?"
They just take his plate out from under him.
And he goes, "It was room temperature to me." And I said, "No, it's cold. Everyone's is going back."
That's right. So then another 20 minutes go by, 30 maybe, I don't know. They bring the food out and they set it down. And why don't you tell the people what happened then?
Well, I don't send food back. So I was unaware that they were going to take my steak and throw it back on the fryer or the grill or however they do it.
I knew that's what they were going to do.
I had no idea. I thought I was going to get a brand new steak. No. So now my steak comes back and it's charred, right? Charred. Because before I asked for medium rare. So now it's charred on the outside, black, still cold.
Yeah.
Still
ice cold.
Cold. And yours was cold. And now Patrick's was legit.
Now Patrick's wasn't even room temperature anymore. It was freezing like ours was originally. And so we all ate charred steak because we couldn't send it back again at that point. We had given up.
And the maitre d' came back and he said, "How is it?" And Patrick goes, "Eh." And he looked at us with such a confused look. Yeah. And none of us could even muster to tell him it was cold. We're like, "It's fine."
Yeah.
So the food there in Montreal, I think they serve it cold.
I guess it's a trend. I'm not sure.
Well, it would make sense because there's ice cream places everywhere. They like
they like the cold.
They like the cold.
Yeah. To them, anything above minus 32 is warm.
Yeah. So we didn't have a great food run. And people know when they listen to our podcast, we talk about food quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. We just did, actually.
Yeah. We did not have a good food run there.
We didn't, but I still love the city so much that I've actually messaged the children and said, "Hey, I know you're all scattered around the country. We are going to rent an apartment in June of next year and stay there for a month.
Yeah.
And you guys can bounce in and out as you please." I have no idea. We learned last summer we can't plan around whatever these kids want to do with their summers.
No.
They're all grown adults now. They're all little tiny adultlets at this point.
Yeah.
And but you and I decided we're going to go stay there for a month and just check out the city for real.
There's so much that we did not see.
Yeah.
We didn't go into one museum. I went into one art gallery. There are hundreds of art galleries. I'd like to explore more restaurants. There were concerts happening while we were there. Arctic Monkeys was playing. We didn't get to see them. the city just has a lot to offer. And a few days, we were there for 4,
Yeah.
isn't enough.
No,
if you're going to go
not
visit
nearly.
Montreal, I say minimum is a week.
So, but the one thing we did do was go past the Olympic Village where they had the 1976 Olympics.
We did do that.
The only city in Canada to ever host the Summer Olympics. Did you know that?
Oh, I did not.
The
But
Summer Olympics. Canada's cold. It makes
Yeah.
sense. That was the Olympics where Bruce Jenner won the decathlon.
oh,
Yeah.
huh, okay.
And after those Olympics,
Yeah.
there was a boom among baby girls born in Montreal with the first name Nadia. You were going
Are
to say
you
Caitlin. No, not Caitlin.
Uh,
Nadia. After who?
Nadia Comaneci.
Yes. Yes. The Romanian gymnast who basically swept all the awards that year.
And that was in
She
Montreal.
cleaned up. That was in Montreal.
Oh, wow.
Fun fact for Gen Xers, right?
That's a great fact
Yeah,
for
that's
Gen
a
Xers.
throwback.
Oh yeah, I love that. Oh, I'm gonna take that one with me.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of sports, I want to move on.
Oh, okay. Because I wanted to talk about something.
Oh, well, then you go first.
Do you want to talk about the fashion of Montreal? Because I mentioned it at the top of the show.
You did.
So when we go for a month, I'm definitely bringing different clothes. I'm serious. Like it was a joke.
Why not buy them there, hon?
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. Please don't.
Oh, well, speaking of buying clothes.
Yeah.
Okay. So JCPenney or Kohl's?
For me,
Well, not me.
I like both. Do I have to pick one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Kohl's is a little more modern.
In what way? I need to know in what way, because they are
Well,
both like,
I don't know.
okay.
It's I mean, I still base my experience off of a lot of the Los Angeles stores that I used to go
Oh,
to.
the Los Angeles Kohl's and Los Angeles JCPenney's, because those are
Yes.
your two. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a guy's guy. I just
I
just
know
want
guys
a couple.
that
I want a
shop
couple
at
button down
Nordstrom.
shirts. I want a couple. I know. I don't go to Nordstrom. I just don't. You all go to Nordstrom. Therefore, I cannot go to Nordstrom. That's just how the budget works. But it's fine because I'm cool with going to low rent stores like Kohl's, I guess. But no, in Los Angeles, like the JCPenney, it would be like piles of clothes unfolded and everybody had rifled through everything. So it was a little more like,
Oh,
that was more,
is Kohl's upscale in,
Like you had to pick-
LA?
I mean, the shirts were on hangers and they were folded and all that. So
Okay.
yeah, my experience has been Kohl's is a cleaner run.
Oh,
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's Kohl's.
if you must know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Curious. Yeah.
Why
okay.
do you ask? What's that got to do with Montreal fashion? Nothing at all.
You are not going to find a Kohl's or JCPenney there, my friend.
Oh,
So
you're
you
right
need
about
to
that.
pack up before you get there.
Oh
So
my
hit that
gosh.
Kohl's before you get there.
Okay. I will definitely hit that Kohl's. What are you going to do? What stores are there?
Oh, there's some really nice ones. There is actually a mall that we did not get a chance to visit, which I am going to bring.
Thankfully.
I'm going to bring an empty suitcase,
Oh my
and
God.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to going back and getting some cute clothes.
Okay. All right. Enough of that. Like, I want to talk about something that you and I have talked about a lot lately. I don't know why it keeps coming up in our conversations. I guess it's just because this person is such a cultural icon now, as well as a sports figure.
Oh,
But we've had numerous conversations about this. I
Tom
want to talk.
Brady?
Not Tom Brady. Tom Brady's done. Tom Brady is 2016.
No, he's coming back. He's coming
He's
back.
2016.
Go ahead.
He's not. He could come back. Actually,
Oh, he does it
He's
all the
bionic
time.
already,
He does
I
it
know.
all the time.
Now that he doesn't have Gigi's money.
He's going to have to come back.
Anyway, no, we've talked a lot about this, and I'm going to Utah in a few weeks, and I'm going to see Mia,
And Cam Rising?
and Cam Rising is out.
Okay.
And
go
that's so inside baseball. No sports fans hardly even know who he
ahead.
is.
Okay, go ahead.
I shouldn't. None of our audience, to be correct, none of our audience knows who he is.
Okay.
But no, I'm going to be going to Utah in a few weeks with Mia, who talked me into going. It didn't take much. But the Utah Utes are playing the Colorado Buffaloes.
I know where this is headed. I know where this
so
is
we're
headed.
going to talk about Coach Prime because it's come up. It's football season. I always have the games on. Denise will pop in and say, "Oh, I don't know why everybody hates Coach Prime."
I love him. I have loved him for years. Remember when I first met you, I had you wear 2 earrings just like Dion does?
You did do that.
Yeah, I bought
oh
you the
my gosh,
hoops.
that was your reference.
I bought you the
forgot
hoops.
all about that.
You met me and 4 days later you were wearing hoops in both ears. I was
Okay.
like, you got to do Dion. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I love Dion. I've always liked him. I mean, He's an amazing athlete, and then he loves his mom. He
That's
loves
it.
his
That's
mom.
all it takes. He's just got to love his mom. A lot of
He's
athletes
really
love
good
their
to his
moms.
mom. Are you kidding?
Okay.
Like he
Kevin Durant's good to his mom. You don't talk about him.
is Kevin Durant as good as Dion? Is he play baseball and football? I mean,
He
come
did
on.
not, no.
Okay, so that's all.
Okay, so the backdrop is
Okay, and I have
Florida
to tell
State.
you, Michael Jordan, baseball and basketball. And I know he's nice to his mom, but Dion is even higher up
Dion
because
actually
Dion
hit a
really
home
takes
run.
care of his mom.
Let's start there.
Okay.
Dion actually hit a home run.
Okay.
And he scored a touchdown in the same week. The only player in history to do that. So to rewind how that was accomplished, Dion was a dual athlete sport. He played football and baseball at Florida State. Fast forward, he gets into the pros, and I believe he signed with the Atlanta Falcons and originally the Yankees. I forget whatever the order is, but he played for the Yankees, and then he played for the Braves, and he also then went on to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Eventually, he stopped playing baseball. It was just all about football. Dallas Cowboys, 49ers, I'm getting the order all wrong, irrelevant. He's a Hall of Fame athlete, the only person to play in a Super Bowl and a World Series. The only
that's
person.
amazing. Okay, that's amazing.
So that's all accomplishments. Yeah. Why people don't like Dion as much is because
I know why.
He's super flashy and it's always all about him, right?
He delivers though.
He has delivered as an athlete.
It can be all about you when you're delivering.
He has delivered as an athlete, but stick with me here. So when I found out he was coaching at Jackson State, he went to coach his two sons, Shiloh and Shador, right? Shiloh plays defense. Shador plays quarterback. They're probably both going to go to the pros eventually, I would think. That made me rewind a little bit because, back in LA, I worked on a show for Oxygen Network. It was Dion's family. With Pilar, his then wife, who they're divorced now. And it just brought back all these memories because I saw all the outtakes on this thing, right?
Oh, yeah. He's sassy.
He is. But not only that, like every single scene becomes about him. And it was Oxygen Network. It was like the network for women. It was supposed to be his wife's show. And he just totally overshadowed every single person in every single show, right? And so my experience with him is like, kind of over it or whatever. He was a commentator. I think he's super entertaining. I always have. Just, from the standpoint of it's always about him, the spotlight's always on him, I'm kind of like over it, right? So cut to, he goes to Jackson State.
I know, because you've been over him for a little while. Like before he coached Jackson State.
Well, because I had to edit all of his outtakes. Like I had to edit him out of scenes to make the show actually
Pilar.
about his wife.
I know.
So it took a lot of work. And so, whatever. I'm especially passionate about that, but I'm done. It's like, you think I wouldn't be bitter anymore, but I am. And so... And so
we're going back to those long hours.
You were 2008.
You were like cutting out Dion.
Surly 2008 me right now. Anyway, he goes to Jackson State, historically black college, right? His two sons are playing with him. It's a fantastic story. Kind of upgrades the program or maybe even turns it around. And all of a sudden, I think he's like, I want to say his record is something like 26 or 30-6 or something like that. And for the previous 2 years, he was, I think he went 11-0 or 8-0. I forget how many teams are in the conference. Doesn't matter. He basically won every single game. I think they lost their championship games or whatever, or their bowl games or something. So he had a few losses sprinkled in there. But anyway, now all of a sudden people are flocking to Jackson State. Nobody ever was before. Right. And so it's a big deal. Like
absolutely.
The cameras came, the kids came, everybody came. And
he put his money where his mouth is.
He absolutely did as a coach. So now he comes to Colorado and it was a big thing. We coming, right? And those were the hashtags and everything. And I know a lot of people in the Pac-12, especially coaches, and I hate to say it, a lot of white coaches were, we don't wear sunglasses in our press conferences and all this other stuff. And it's like,
because it's very traditional.
These like fuddy-duddy
who've been there for years,
coaches.
there for years. And he's coming in and he's bringing Dion.
Yeah. So anyway.
Which I love.
Yeah. Cut to this year, Colorado, they're 4-4 right now. And I'll get to that in a minute. So it's been sort of meager success, right? But Colorado, the stadium, the school has as many sellouts now this year. They've tied their 1993 record. They've had 5 games sell out. So again, the cameras came, the kids came, and all this other stuff. And I will say, leading into the beginning of this, this is all going somewhere. And so I would say, leading into the beginning of this season, I was like, Dion, it's always about Dion. It's not even going to be about the kids, right? And I kept saying that it's going to be about him getting his 2 sons into the pros and whatever spotlight he can get. So they've gotten there, and they were in some really close games with some really big teams. Like, they almost came back and beat USC. They did have one slip up in Stanford. They had a 29-0 lead at halftime, and they blew it. And Stanford ended up coming back. But they've been hanging in games with big teams. So now all of a sudden it's like, okay, Colorado isn't really going to win their conference this year. But considering that they were a dumpster fire a couple years ago, he's done a great job with them, right? And now everybody's piling on. It's so weird. I've come like full circle, and I'm like, leave Dion alone. He's done all this stuff for this school. Like, he's had 5 sellouts. He's, you know.
Oh, are you a Dion fan now?
I mean, I find myself defending him, which is a weird place for me, because he was, out of all the athletes I've ever loved, he hasn't been one of them, right? And so now all of a sudden I'm like, don't pile on Dion. That's not cool.
Look at you. Look at you came around.
I did.
Well, when he had his first run and was doing well at Jackson State, I seriously was going to send him a DM and ask him if he would coach Ellie's volleyball team at Seattle U. But then I stopped myself. Do you know why? Because I started seeing other people doing it. Like, there were moms from hockey teams in the Midwest sending him. Yes, because they were like, we haven't had a win at our high school in 12 years. Dion, you can come on Saturdays. Just give us a little bit of Dion.
Oh my gosh. I know there are colleges all over America right now. They're like, man, I wish we had a Dion. You know?
Yeah.
I know.
So
anyway, Coach Prime, I do feel bad for Coach Prime. They've lost a couple games, and they've been on a little bit of a slide lately. And you could tell he's a little, like, it's a side of Dion we don't get, Coach Prime, we don't get to see.
I'm not
where
worried.
He's a little sulky in press conferences and stuff.
I'm not worried.
Anyway.
Next year's going to be, he's just started at this school. Like, next year is going to be the one. You know that, right? Like, he's not going to go out like that. Like, he's going to be like, okay, last year was last year. Yeah. Dion's going to do his Dion, and he's going to be a winner.
Anyway, I don't know why it's taken up so much bandwidth in our house, but it has. You and I have had this conversation.
Well, because you are so not Dion, and I am so I've always been so Dion.
And I hate the fact that I'm kind of saying, you know what, babe, you're right. People should leave Dion alone a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Who are you rooting for at the Utah-Colorado game?
I'm still rooting for Utah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I got a kid. That's where my tuition money goes. So it's all about the Utes. And I have to be honest, you know, I historically grew up an Ohio State fan, but ever since, I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but they had a coach named Urban Meyer who is like, he's been scandal ridden everywhere he's gone, right? Got fired from the Jacksonville Jaguars in the pros because he was such a tool off the field and away from the team. And oh, by the way, he was losing almost every game.
So I wouldn't be an Urban Meyer fan.
You would not be an Urban Meyer fan. And to the point where it's like, I have found myself at times, like when I took Mia to the Rose Bowl a few years back, I was actually I was there with the Ohio State fans, surrounded by Utah fans and all that. And I still found myself sort of rooting for the Utah Utes because they've been this program on the rise. You know, they have a good coach and they keep glimpsing like getting over the hump and being like, you know, a top 10 team and all that. And
have they ever been the underdog?
They're falling short. They're always they've historically always been the underdog.
Okay. So they're coming out of that. So,
yeah. It's always in that conference. It's always been USC, Oregon, you know, occasionally one other team, but or Arizona State way back in the 90s kind of thing. So anyway, so that's my summary. I'm actually excited to go see Coach Prime, but I'm still going to be rooting for the Utes that day. I will be against Dion that day.
All right.
Yeah. But anyway, hopefully he rattles off a few more wins between now and then. So
I think he'll make for an interesting game. I really do.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, I don't know. I don't have anything else. You got anything else for this one?
I think we covered Montreal really well. You're going to hit Kohl's before you head out to Montreal.
I definitely
I'm going to bring an empty suitcase.
That's right.
And we're hopefully going to get hot food next time we're there.
We're looking forward to hot food. Maybe we should go in the winter. If it's so cold outside and we get food at room temperature, it's going to seem really hot.
That is a very good point. Change your reservation and let's make it for February.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Why don't you take them out?
Empty nest, full tank.
See you guys.